Yes, in this odd week-long pummeling of Redkwan videos, I figured I'd throw in an old classic, as in one of those times I don't talk specifically about Nintendo and look at the video game scene as a whole. It's always been a part of what my channel is. Not a part that anyone likes or cares about, but, I mean, it's still there. Not really since early February, actually. I've been slacking. And in this episode of Forgotten Redkwan Mediocrity, I'm going to look at the old argument. Does the difficulty of a game make a major difference in the enjoyment of it? And what is the perfect balance of that difficulty? You know, because people are always saying that video games are too easy and that you're just a pile of garbage, Redkwan, and stuff like that. Hello all 358 of you, I'm Redkwan, and are easy games bad? To figure out this age-long debate, as well as some loser can do in a 6-minute video, we need to first look at what makes games fun to begin with. Let's cut to professional expert, Redkwano. Yes, it is I, Redkwano, professional expert. Now, because of my advanced knowledge on the subject, I can tell you all the things that make games enjoyable. First, there's the joy of the controls and game mechanics. The satisfaction one gets from moving a character around, or playing the game to play the game, is one way the games can be enjoyable. But the other way, the way that has much more impact on the topic at hand, is the accomplishment of achieving an objective or beating a level. And if you can maximize the amount of joy someone gets out of their game accomplishments, you can make the game much more fun for the player. Thanks for the lesson, Redkwano. What a cool guy. But the question then becomes, how can you maximize that accomplishment? And that's where things get tricky, because by making games harder, you can make the feeling you get when you finally overcome something better, but by making it easier, you can allow for more accomplishments to happen quicker. So it becomes a balancing act. Make a game that's hard, and you make it a long haul to achieve things, but a great sense of achievement when they do, or make a game easy and give the player more achievements, but with less accomplishment from each. So based on that reasoning, it would seem that finding a good balance and making games moderately difficult would be the best way to go. Something that did provide a challenge, but that the average player could overcome in just a few tries, or without too much difficulty. But we aren't done there. I still have like 3 minutes of video I have to fill. And there are a few factors involved that we haven't brought up yet that can make a game much worse. The thing is, while a medium difficulty game is the best scenario, allowing for a player to feel the sense of accomplishment fairly strongly when they achieve a goal, but also allowing them to move fairly quickly to have that feeling of achievement frequently, that level is almost impossible to achieve. Some players will always be better than others, make a game middle of the road in difficulty, and some players will struggle greatly and find it too hard, and others will blow through it. Even in games where the skill gap tries to be as small as possible, this is still going to be a problem. And the other thing is, actually finding, obtaining, and sustaining that perfect balance is almost impossible. Sometimes you can be playing a game, as you do, and all of a sudden there's a really tough level, and then a really easy level right next to each other. I tried really hard to come up with an example, but I'll hope you just get the idea. It's a tough thing to have that perfect balance of difficulty on one level, let alone the entire game. And even if it does, that's still just your own personal ideal difficulty, probably not everyone's. And then there's the fact that difficult games don't just bring with them a great sense of accomplishment, they also are really great at being super stinking frustrating. Make a game too hard and the frustration you get ends up outweighing any joy you get from the accomplishment. There have definitely been times for me when I play something that is way too hard, and when I finally end up beating it, because it took me so long and was so awful to play, I don't even feel happy, I just feel angry at the game. And maybe relieved that I'll never have to do it again. And that's the territory you usually want to stay away from. Making a game way too easy is usually pretty hard to do. Sure, there might be something where you would have increased the difficulty if you had had the choice, and you would have preferred more of a challenge. But you have to go pretty darn far in that direction to completely ruin a game, I feel like. Maybe you've played a game that was so easy that you could have beat it if you had only played with your ears, but for just about every easy game, I feel like you can still find enjoyment out of it. So you can probably guess at this point, unless you zoned out for the past 4 minutes, which I don't blame you when you're sitting through this. I think making games pretty easy is the way to go. In a perfect world, a medium difficulty would be the best option, but between different skill levels experiencing things differently, different levels balancing differently, harder games having the potential to become overly frustrating, and easy games generally still being pretty fun even if they're a breeze, I think making games pretty easy is the way to go. I know it's quite the complaint that modern games are super easy now, and that's lame, bro, but honestly, I think games could go even easier. That's probably not a popular opinion. I guess that makes me totally unhip. Obviously, not all games should be super easy, and I think hard games are awesome when done well, and when built for people that want them. Some games even do scaling difficulty well, like Mario. But I think that for the majority of games, easiness is probably the better choice. For example, Cuphead is supposedly a good game, and it's hard, so that's cool. And Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze is one of my favorite games, and that's pretty darn hard as well, for me. Maybe I'm just not any good, though. And like arcade games, you have to die, so something like Pac-Man or Frogger should be hard too. I don't know where I'm going with this anymore, so I guess it's time to awkwardly cut off with a pretty lazy conclusion. Well, I'm Redkwan. What do you think about game difficulty? And what would you say is the ideal difficulty for games? Have you lost all respect for me after watching? Why would you have any respect in the first place? Anyways, I'm Redkwan. Thank you all for watching, and I'll hopefully see you all later. Goodbye.